Okay, we are live. Let's see, what time is it? 2 o'clock. We are now in segment, I think, 3. So we've had Messy Mike kick it off. We just got off with the boys from New England Pitmasters. And now, live and direct from Amesbury, Massachusetts, right over there.
It's not far, right?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, Cmac?
Doing fantastic. So happy virtual Ribberfest. We have now seen each other twice, actually physically live today,
Right?
and once on the interwebs.
The interweb. So a virtual third meeting of the day, Craig. How you doing, big fella?
You know what? I'm feeling good. I'm going strong. I just had another Texas Twinkie.
They were good.
They were good, huh?
Yeah, I'd never had a Texas Twinkie before, and the poppers that I've been doing, I've cut the jalapeno in half and stuffed them and wrapped them in bacon, but I didn't reassemble the two halves of the jalapeno. Right. So that was new to me. So it changes the whole ratio of spice to filling, and the brisket in there, that's a nice touch. That's a nice touch.
So just for, just for transparency, I didn't have time and I didn't want to cook a full brisket. So mine was actually a little eye of round that I smoked the other day. So I'm actually kind of now intrigued to do it with brisket. You know this because you do a lot, and we'll talk about some of your favorite things to cook. I get my ADHD kind of gets to me when I've got to do that are very prep intensive. And when you're talking about Texas Twinkies and all those kind of things, they're very prep intensive. And so as I was trying to, cut the top of the jalapeno halfway or 2/3 and then down the jalapeno, and then you got to, without trying, hoping that the top doesn't fall off or you don't totally separate it, trying to get out the seeds and the membrane.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of that.
It is frankly a pain in the ass, but I also, as I was planning on doing this, I'm thinking, well, listen, okay, so I got the beer and I've got alcohol to get me through the day.
So you got the mainstays.
But I got my mainstays. But
I love that you said beer and alcohol.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and booze. And I've got the ribs on. But I said, well, shoot, the ribs aren't going to be ready till later, and it's kind of hard to be sucking a big rib, in between sessions and segments and everything. I said, geez, maybe I need something else to get me through. And so thankfully, I thought that was the way to go. And I know a few other people are cooking those today too. But I'm a big jalapeno fan. And you throw some cream cheese, some shredded cheese, a little smoked meat in there, some barbecue rub. You wrap it with some bacon. Oh, and by the way, I keep on forgetting, I haven't even, the one that you had earlier and the two that I just had, we haven't even hit those with barbecue sauce yet. I'll have to go grab barbecue sauce and kind of shine those puppies up a little bit. But
now I got to drive back over there.
Now you might have to drive back. So I've got a handful of those left. Or if our Mayor Gove happens to be on her walk through my backyard again, I'll have to make sure I finish those properly. So
she's pretty speedy and stealthy. She may just sneak in and take it, and you wouldn't even know.
That's true.
Oh my gosh, Tom Dixon just came on the radio.
Nice.
Catch My Drift theme song of Hoppy's Cantina.
One of my favorites. So listen, Sean. So we probably got some folks on here that aren't familiar with you and your background. So do me a favor. I'm gonna run in really quick. I'm gonna let the dog in because she's boiling. I'm gonna grab that barbecue sauce. So why don't you kind of fill everybody in with Sean Hopkins' story, maybe a little lobster Q, and where you are right now.
All right. So I'm Sean Hopkins, Hoppy, as if you ever grew up in New Hampshire playing hockey, you have to have a nickname with a E or a Y on the end. So Hopkins, Hoppy. So we always say, don't worry, be Hoppy. I think I'll crack this bad boy. So I'm kind of doing a unique thing. My wife and I moved to Amesbury 5 years ago. And we were running a restaurant in Hampstead, New Hampshire called Lobster Q. It was a seafood and barbecue place. And I remember a young lady comes in with her child, and she's having dinner at Lobster Q. And at the end of it, she says, hey, you should come to Amesbury. And it was Alyssa. And she was working in the mayor's office at the time. And I thought, well, that's a good idea. I like Amesbury. I had looked at Amesbury before. And then we ended up buying a house here, and then a space opened up downtown, and I talked to Danielle, and we were like, you know what? How cool would it be to live and work in the same town, to tell your tale in the same town, a town that you've been following for 12 years, a town that you love. And so we decided to go for it, and we are in the process, and it's been a process of opening a taco joint in downtown Amesbury called Hoppy's Cantina. And that's why we have to carry Wormtown's Be Hoppy. Happy to see you. Little bit of an announcement, I think. Let's
get the cat out of the bag. Come on, do it.
We have been approved for all our licensing. We were trying not to open to go originally, but then COVID hit, and people are isolated and they're at home and they don't have tacos, and they can't come and get tacos or burritos or enchiladas or quesadillas. And I thought, don't worry, be happy. Let's bring tacos and burritos and quesadillas to the people of Amesbury. So this week we're going to test the process with some friends and family. And then if it goes well, and I'm assuming it will because I've been tasting this stuff. I said stuff. I'm pretty proud of myself. And I'm pretty happy with the results. So, Craig, you and Jenny, actually, you, Jenny, and the two kids got to try some, a steak burrito, 2 ground beef burritos, and we made a special veggie burrito for Jenny.
Yeah.
I see you working. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, they were fantastic.
You enjoyed it?
Absolutely. It was great timing too, because we did not have plans for dinner that night, and I was trying to figure out, and happened to be getting ready to pass you by, and I got that call, and you said, "Hey, you want some burritos?" And I said,
yeah.
"Hey, yes, I do." And it was kismet, and they were very good.
If you're being truthful, that's not really the way it happened, though, right?
It was similar to that, wasn't it?
Similar, yeah. You were driving by. I thought I saw you. I called you. I said, "Hey, are you downtown?" And you said, "No." And then Jenny said, "But I am."
That's true.
And then 15 minutes later, 4 burritos to go.
That's true. I still like my story a little bit better, but that was pretty close.
Yeah. Of course you like your story.
So listen, as I'm slathering these, to be fair, I know you talk a lot about tacos, but you and I met through barbecue, and so the concept of Hoppy's Cantina is more than just tacos, correct?
Tacos and tequila, barbecue, and bourbon. So I still got to brush up on my barbecue chops. Well,
listen, I think people that have been to your house and that have had your barbecue know that you don't have to improve much on those chops. They're already there, but it's a unique concept. I guess somebody could say similar to Tex-Mex, but barbecue, bourbon, tequila, tacos. I think that covers all the food groups, doesn't it?
There's 4, and they always say there's 4 major food groups. So yeah, I guess it does. Yeah.
So we got Lep and Mags on. Check it out.
Nice. Mags is on later, right?
Yes, Johnny Mags is on. Let's see. We got 2 more. Mags is on in a couple more segments. But So besides getting ready for Hoppies, besides your former experience, 8 years running Lobster Q in Hampstead, you've also got speaking of cooking and everything, you've also got some other fun stuff under your belt. So I know you've done some egg fests, you've cooked demonstration cooking at Hampton Beach Seafood Festival.
Yeah.
And I think you can help me out with this, but I believe you also had a little stint on Food Network, correct?
That did happen. The Food Network thing, there was a competition. So you mentioned some really cool things. So there's been live cooking at the Feast of St. Anthony's, the Hampton Beach Seafood Festival, Cook's Corner, Wicked Bites, Phantom Gourmet. But the Food Network thing, so that was interesting. That came to me sort of out of the blue, and it's top secret. They don't tell you anything. And in this case, what I was supposed to do was the premise of the concept was to recreate a snack item from scratch, and then afterwards use the real snack item to create another dish. And you're a bit of a prepper, so I bet you would have done exactly what I did, which is you look up the show, and it was called Rewrapped, and you see who are the sponsors of the show. And the application that came with it was like a filling out a CIA application. It was 28 pages with disclaimers and things like that. But the very first part was basically a short essay. And the question was, if you were at a convenience store and you only had $1, what would you buy? So I had to answer it pretty quick. And Craig, I've never asked you that question. If you, Craig McPherson, Big Cali, Cmac, Blackstone boys, were at a convenience store with only $1 to spend, what in the world would you purchase?
Wow.
$1.
That's that's tough. Let's see. Playboy magazine is more than that. Condoms now. Geez, $1. Maybe
$1.
Chips.
Bag of chips. All right. So here's what I wrote, because I like to write like you speak. I wrote, first of all, if I was at the convenience store and I went in and reached in my pocket, only had $1, I'm going right back out to my car and I'm going to rummage around under the seat, see if I can find any spare change. And if I do not find some spare change, I'm going to go back into that convenience store and I'm going to grab one of those 99-cent little pouches of trail mix, and I'm going to eat only half of it on my way home, congratulating myself on making a good choice at the convenience store. And then with that other half, I'm going to mix that other half of trail mix into a deluxe brownie kit and have dessert.
So
I thought that was a good idea.
Let me get it straight. So you've already broken the rules and gone down your own path, right?
How did I break the rules?
Going looking for more money?
Yeah, well, they didn't say you couldn't look for more money. They just said you only have $1. They didn't say potentially you have $5 more out there. Right? Nobody said that. Not that I know of. In any event, answering the question, filling out the application, they did put me on the show. And I mentioned looking up the sponsors. So it was like Petridge Farm, Chef Boyardee, and Hostess. So immediately I know somebody's making Twinkies, somebody's making ring dings, somebody's making SpaghettiOs, somebody's going to make goldfish, right? So I got goldfish. I had to recreate goldfish from scratch in 30 minutes. And I can tell you for one thing, that 30-minute timer is real. But they're smart. They know how long it takes. They're smart at Food Network. They know how long it takes to cook things. So yeah. I'm not much of a baker, but if you think about any dough recipe you've ever read, it always says something like let rest in the refrigerator for 20 minutes. Well, you can't do that. If you did that, that's only 10 minutes to make, cut out, and cook and plate the friggin' goldfish. And you can't do that. So right from the get-go, it's like a golf swing. The minute you bring that club back or you approach the ball, things are going wrong, and you're adjusting and hoping for the best. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. If you felt good about putting a goldfish recipe together and you're rolling out the dough, right? While you're rolling out the dough, you're thinking, how do I cut out the goldfish? Like, they're supposed to be this, you're supposed to like mimic them as close as you can. So you gotta cut them out, and there's no goldfish cookie cutter that you're just gonna, pump out 50 of these damn things. And did I roll the dough too thick? Did I roll it too thin? Did I let it rest enough? Am I going to be able to bake it? And by the way, even if you get the size right, the goldfish have eyes and a smile. You got to put that on there too. How would you do that?
That's a good question. I would, I don't know. I would fumble around and see. That's why I'm not on that show. So tell me what you did.
So we took a soda can and scissors and cut out like a ribbon on the soda can, and then taped it together with Scotch tape, made like a O, and then we squished the middle and pushed. I didn't have an assistant. Squished it, collapsed apart to make the tail, and opened up so we had like the tail and a body. And then I used a paper clip, and I opened up one side of the paper clip, and I jabbed the eyes, and then I used the big round part of the paper clip, and I rolled it to make like a smile. And then I'm like, well,
you're like the MacGyver of the Food Network at this point.
Well, I wouldn't more like MacGruber, if you think about it.
It's fair.
You don't get that. You don't get that.
I got it. Fair.
All right. Losing my sombrero. Yeah, so I'm thinking, how many of these things do I need to make? And you got to get them in the oven, and you're plating. So as you're cutting them out, you're kind of doing that math. And I got to be honest with you, at the end of that piece, I had 44 goldfish plated. So 4 plates, 3 for the judges and 1 for the food stylist, Lynn, who was incredible. And I was happy with them. I didn't think I won at that point. But I knew I didn't lose. And that was the hardest part of the challenge for me, because I'm not a baker. And I remember there was a big camera. My fingers are small because of the screen here, but big TV camera 4 feet from my face, right across the counter. The host was Joey Fatone.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
The judges were Jenny McCool, a cool baker, Eileen Chang Britt, who's the vice president at Petridge Farms, and she's wearing a goldfish colored jacket. And at the end of that segment, I'll never forget, I put my hands to my face because I wanted, like, I was emotional. I was like going to tear up, but you're on TV, you can't cry. And I look over to my right, and there's Joey Fatone, and he's running at me. Joey Fatone, who's way taller than me, is running at me. And I just start running at Joey Fatone, and I'm like, holy moly, we're about to chest bump. Craig, have you ever chest bumped anybody?
No. Well, yes, I have, but never Joey Fatone.
Never Joey Fatone. Well, most of us would need like a trampoline to chest bump you. So Joey Fatone's running at me. I realize we're going to chest bump, and in my head, I'm doing like all the calculations really quick. Like, how fast do I run? How high do I jump? Do I jump forward? Do I just jump up in the air? Where do I put my chest? Where do I put my head? Like when you're kissing on the first date, you don't want to bang heads, right?
No, that's not comfortable.
No. So we jump, we chest bump, and it was beautiful. A little high five. It's all on camera. they didn't use it.
They
didn't use it. Why do you think that is? I want an answer. I want an answer why Malcolm Butler didn't play in the Super Bowl, and I want to answer why they didn't use the footage of Joey Fatone and I chest bumping.
I know that's you would think a special touching moment like that would gather more ratings.
Ron.
So
you put up Ron's comment, MacGruber. He got it. Ron's famous. Ron's way more famous than you and I put together. You know.
Well, that's right. That's right.
You're having Ron on later too, right?
That's why I'm expecting Ron to carry this whole thing. Ron, I'm not going to put. Ron is actually up next. Ron, I'm not going to put a lot of weight, but truly, I'm expecting you to carry this whole virtual Ribberfest thing. So anyway,
no pressure. So I had a theory why they didn't use the Joey Fatone chest bump footage.
Okay, what was that?
I think this show ran for 2 seasons, and I'm very proud of the fact that our episode, which was the 12th that they shot, they used as the premiere. I thought that was awesome. Okay. I figured they can't lead with that show and then say, here's Joey Fatone chest bumping somebody, because hashtag no pressure. Because once I've done that, the next guy's got to one-up me, right? So what if they put him in a body slam or a figure 4 leg lock or break his nose or something like that? Can't have that. Right. So safety first, I guess, is the thing. Oh, well. So we lost good footage, but there it is. At least I got to talk about it. I know it. I saw it. I lived it.
But you brought home, I believe there was a belt involved, correct?
Oh, funny story. Funny story. So I was behind, I think 6 points. So the second part is also just a half an hour. And I had decided that I would use the actual real Petridge Farm goldfish and make a stuffed lobster. I was from Lobster Q. It just came to mind. I hollowed out the body, I split the tail, and I made like a lobster bisque, and I cooked giant sea scallops, whole shrimp, and Food Network found this awesome, like huge super lump crab meat, and it came out really cool. But along the way, like I said, Food Network is really smart. Hey, cowgirl, how you doing?
Hey, I thought you were just at our house.
I was.
He gets around.
Jenny, Danielle, and Connie say hi.
Hi. They coming over?
Oh, they're waving.
I don't know. Did Craig drink all your wine? If you have wine left, they may be over.
Drink it all.
Yeah. She said I drank it all.
He's like that. That's what she said on Facebook, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. So, when I sat down with Food Network, one of the things they asked me was, what equipment do you need? And I don't know. You're kind of spitballing. You know what the options are, so you're kind of just putting things together. And one of the things I asked for was a torch. And they said, no, we don't have a torch. Like, Food Network doesn't have a torch. And they're like, no, we don't have one on set. I'm like, all right. What? So at the beginning of the second segment,
listen, if Jay Bolin is happened to watch this, they've probably seen you with a torch before, and that's why they didn't want to give you one.
You remember that when we torched the Scotch eggs at Sylvaticus, Brewery Sylvaticus? That was awesome.
Freaked out Jen and everybody else there, yes. But continue.
All right. So they said they didn't have a torch. Now, at the beginning of the second segment, I had they allowed me to start boiling the water, right? You can't have a challenge that's just impossible. It's just got to be a challenge. So recognizing that the top of the pot, the steam coming out was making like a rattle, the boil, I actually stupidly, in retrospect, said to the producer, hey, you're probably going to catch that on the audio. Maybe we should shut the pot off. And he's like, yeah, okay, good. So I went and I shut both burners off. I had 2 pots because you're not going to put 4 lobsters in one pot. I had 2 pots going. So here's where the hijinks and intelligence of Food Network came into play. So at that point, we did the introduction, ready, set, cook. And before we split off, I go to turn the pots back on, but there's a producer who walks up to the stove to turn the pots on. And I'm like, awesome, cool, good to go. So then we're back, Joey Fatone, ready, set, cook. And we sprint around the counter and we start cooking. And I start building the bisque because that's going to take the longest time. Then I go to grab the lobsters. They're in the fridge. I don't know if they hit them on me or I'm just blind and stupid.
Hey, we lost your audio.
Oh, yeah? Do you want me to jump out and come back in?
Oh, no, there we go. I got you now.
All right, where'd you lose me?
15 minutes ago, but you're still good.
Awesome. Let me back up.
No, like 5 seconds.
So the lobster pots were boiling, and I grabbed the lobsters out of the fridge. Took me a while to find them. I'm kind of panicking, actually. That was a pretty nerve-wracking part, because if you want to make a stuffed lobster and you don't have lobster, it's really challenging. So
true.
I find the lobsters. I lift the 2 lids off the pots. I toss the lobsters in. Things are going good. I finish the bisque. I crush the goldfish. I get cheese in it. I'm making up a stuffing, right? And then I lift the lids I lift the first lid and I grab the 2 lobsters and I put them on the cutting board. And stupidly, I pour out the freaking water and toss the pot like away, like get under the counter, get away from me. I'm done with you. And then I grab the second pot and I lift the lid and there's no water boiling. There's 2 lobsters in there looking at me going, ah. Oh, did I do that? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I wasn't going to do anything like that. Can you back up? So I left the lid, right? I lift the lid and there's 2 lobsters in there looking at me because the water wasn't even boiling. So when that Food Network producer went to the stove, they only turned on one of the lobster pots. So now I'm like, ugh. And don't you know, that big ass camera was right back in my face again. And I'm looking at it and I wanted to scream, time out, unfair. You did this to me, but it would have made good TV, but I would have lost the contest for sure, right? So right. I literally remember thinking to myself, well, if I only plate 2, I'm absolutely positively out of the competition. It's still going to be good TV, and I at least want to make an effort and finish it. You don't quit. You know, when you don't have change in your car and you got to buy trail mix, you turn it into a brownie, like we learned at the beginning of this. So I decided to complete the 2, and I got them stuffed, and I turned the lobster pot back on, and I just hoped they would, get to where they were going. But like we say with the big green egg, if you're looking, you ain't cooking. It's the same when you're trying to steam a lobster. If you lift the pot off, you lose all that heat, you lose all that energy. So I just let it go until the point where I knew I needed 8 minutes in the oven, and then I needed to plate it. So even if I'm super fast, I'm looking at 10 minutes, which is challenging. So I lifted the lid at 10 minutes. I remember they do have a timer up there, and if you can't see the timer, you can yell, and sometimes they answer you and sometimes they don't. So then you got to yell it twice or 3 times or 4 times louder and louder so they can get good video. I think that's the way that worked. So I lift the lid and the lobsters were ready. So I put them in the oven. I stuffed them and put them in the oven. And the whole time I'm thinking they're gonna look different. They'll be cooked. The stuffing's cooked. The lobster's cooked. But it's not going to have enough time in the oven to brown the same as the other ones. And son of a biscuit, I look down at my right foot and there's a torch. There's a torch that they didn't have on the set of the Food Network that they told me wasn't there. And then miraculously, one pot didn't boil and there's a torch. And nobody ever asked me, what are you going to use the torch for? Pretty freaking smart. Cheese and biscuits. Oh, so here's the funny thing.
Trying to remember what was my question?
I have no idea. Was it about my show?
Oh no, sorry. All right. So
am I cooking?
Let's just time check. We got about 15 minutes, 13 minutes. So this morning, by
the way,
yes, sir. Yes.
I won the show.
Oh, I know.
I won the show. And they give you a goldfish belt. It looks like a wrestler belt, but it's decorated with gold glitter. And I can't tell anybody because the penalty is $750,000 for intellectual property. So I stuff it in my garment bag. I drive all the way home from New York. I have about an hour to change and go to work at Lobster Cube. My wife hasn't seen me for a few days, so she comes into the room while I'm unpacking. I can't pull out the goldfish belt. That totally gives it away.
Right.
I hide it in the closet, totally forget about it. Honest to God, we go on vacation in Key West, one of our 2 vacations that we've had in 11 years. And I go to unpack my garment bag and the goldfish belt is in there. So I take it out and then I put all my clothes in and we go to Key West. Now she's out at the beach. Her goal was to have drinks on the plane, hit the beach by noon and have a drink. So I'm unpacking and there's gold glitter all over my clothes. Gold glitter all over my clothes. And I got to figure out how to explain this.
Yes, because we know what that usually means.
So I'm thinking about it. My wife trusts me to be honest. And the only reasonable explanation is A, I won the goldfish contest and I have a goldfish belt in there, or B, me and Craig went to the strip club and I'm sorry I didn't tell you. So I am literally prepared to take the heat of going to a strip club without permission, even though I didn't do it, just to preserve the integrity of the goldfish belt victory.
And the really interesting thing is that we've only known each other for about 3 years. And so for you to use me as an excuse, that long ago is pretty crazy too.
Well, hey, sweet cheeks, I was stalking you way before you thought of coming to Amesbury.
So speaking of stalking, so what I was getting into is that, so over the last 2 years, one of the new Ribberfest traditions out here, which I did again this morning, is barbecue creeping. Yeah. And I was hoping that, Mike or Scott, maybe you're on during your segment. Gentlemen, if you're on, throw a little something in the chat so we can see you. But, when I moved out here, I thought the cool thing about New England versus California is everybody's got a fence, right? And generally, most of the time, you're cooking in your backyard. Now, out here, unless you got a pool, there's not a whole lot of fences, so you can see what's going on. And so 2 years ago, our first Ribberfest, I said, you know what? I got everything set up. I got a little time in the morning. My pit's going, the meat's on. Let me take a little drive to a couple of guys that I know that are cooking right around in the area. So I Facebook Lived and I did some what I named at that point was barbecue creeping, and I'd go in the backyard where I knew their smokers were and open them up, check to see. Now, I didn't bet a great percentage that first year. I think maybe I got 1 out of 3 people. But I did do you've also had a few appearances on Wicked Bites TV.
Oh yeah, Scott, me, Mike, Carol, Melissa. Yep. That crew is awesome. That's awesome.
And on top of that, I'll give them a shout out because they're doing great work. I think they're on day 70 something. Scott and Mike doing their show every single night out here. Actually on the internet, on Facebook, that's supporting restaurants and restaurateurs during this hard time. But you happen to be on in the studio with them one day and talking about stuff.
Well, virtual. I wasn't actually in the studio. I was in Hoppy's Cantina right downtown Amesbury.
No. This was a couple. No, this was
talking about a different thing.
I'm talking about a couple years ago when you were actually in the studio, and
and you called me,
and I was listening, and you kind of dropped my name and said that I was stalking your pits, and Mike and Mike and Scott were appalled that something like that could happen, and so the next segment I had to call in and try to write my good name and set everybody straight on not barbecue stalking, barbecue creeping. So that got a little play on Wicked Bites, and so continue that tradition this morning with I hit James Hart here in the neighborhood. He had his brisket going. Went over and spent a little time with Clay Lafort, Big Rig Barbecue. Went over to Chris Olbrot, who just texted me, and he's still, his bacon wrapped brisket is still in the stall. And then ended up over at your house.
Bacon wrapped brisket, that's cool.
So yeah, you'll have to go back and check it out. So I had never seen it before, but we were going back and forth last night or the night before because he got a very small flat and a very thin flat, very probably over trimmed from the butcher.
Hence the bacon.
And I said, listen, what? Go crazy. Why don't you, throw a little bacon on it, protect that thing. And I went over this morning, right before I went over to your house, and he showed me it. And I'll tell you, I got a couple pictures. He'll post some pictures, but it looked beautiful. And it had only been on his pit for maybe, I don't know, maybe an hour or two. But that bacon was crisp. So I said, I've never seen, somebody put a bacon weave on a brisket before. But heck, it makes sense if you got a flat that doesn't have, a fat cap on it. So I'm very intrigued to see how that thing turned out, because I'll tell you what, it did. It looked really tasty.
Now he's cooking on the large acorn, right?
Yes.
So he's not going to wrap that then either.
No.
Huh.
No.
All right.
Well, he may end up wrapping just to try to get it through the stall, because it's a small piece of meat, and he's had it on for, at this point, quite a few hours. But like I said, it was, the color on that bacon weave, and it'll be interesting.
Any rub over the bacon? Change the color?
Yep. Yeah, a little bit of rub on it. I saw some some pepper and stuff. It just looked OB, if you happen to be on, throw a comment in. I don't think he's on right now, or else he probably would have commented.
So this is what I love about barbecue, Craig. It's an art and it's a science. And there's certain things that are tried and true. You know about times, you know about temperature, you know about the cut, but it's different every time. Every single time. And especially, by the way, for Ribberfest, you know what I'm doing? I'm cooking too.
Yeah, so why don't we get to that? So we got about 10 minutes left. So why don't you take it? We forgot to look at the food. Let's see what you got going on.
We shall see some food.
See some food.
First, you mentioned spicy earlier. I want to introduce you. No, they don't want to be introduced.
You already had them on before.
Spicy jalapeno margarita girls don't want to be on camera. Oh. But this is our view from the great big deck.
Lake Attitude behind, yes, beautiful view.
Pretty nice. Cable railings, nice touch. But I'm cooking, and I wanted to show you one thing, because yesterday my day kind of hit the fan. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah, sure.
So from the time, like, I had intended to be home by 6 o'clock, and I got home at 9:30.
Yep.
So I wanted to show you something. When I got home, first thing I did was I put on a 12-pound pork shoulder. I put it on the grill I call Ike, which is Acorn Jr. And I didn't know if the shoulder would fit in Ike. So I actually brought it outside in the bag, and I put it in the grill to make sure it would fit because visually I needed to see that it was going to work. So Ike has been going that whole time, and watch how dead solid Flame Boss keeps the pit temperature.
And it's amazing. And you still have the shoulder in the bag. So that's kind of an interesting way to cook it too.
Well, I figured it would burn off, add a little color.
That's right.
Flavor.
Yeah.
And then I added some other things, and I have a Flame Boss for that, but I'm not going to show the graph. Let's do something interesting. All right. Let's show you what I'm cooking.
That would be fantastic.
All right. So we did build the great big deck, but we haven't put all the smokers up yet. Here's what we got. Got Ike cooking away. Got the extra large big green egg. That guy. All right. This is top secret. This is Kermit, but he's a small big green egg, but I'm doing something different with that. So I can't show you right now.
I know what
right here is the Visions grill. I call it Darth because it's black. This is Yoda because he's green. This is Kermit, also green. This is Ike because, like Ike in South Park, don't kick the baby. You know what I'm saying? I also have this Cowboy River grill, a Cook Shack smoker, and a Mini Max, but I'm not using those things today. So shall we take a look at the pork shoulder?
Yes.
All right.
Big Cat 305. What's up, brother? That's insane. A 12-pound shoulder and Acorn Junior.
What's that?
Big Cat says that's insane. 12-pound shoulder and an Acorn Junior. So let's see.
Oh yeah, bone in. I did. I took the skin off because, well, so I saw somebody we know, and he was cooking a pork shoulder with the skin on. I guess the skin on protects the meat, but I feel like with a Kamado smoker, there's such a moist cooking process that you're not going to dry it out. And I feel like the skin is just a barrier for the smoke actually penetrating the meat. What do you think?
I would tend to agree. I was having this conversation with James earlier because he's doing his brisket on an egg.
Yeah.
And unless I need to catch the drippings, I don't put a water pan in it anymore because it just stays so humid inside. And I think that's one of the benefits of a big green egg or a Kamado cooker, right?
Absolutely. So I don't use a water pan ever, and I am going to start using a drip pan because I've broken 3 plate setters for Yoda here. 3.
Yep.
I had a 4th ready to go, but I don't want to break it, so I'm going to start using a drip pan. Let's get back to Ike and the pork shoulder.
5 minutes. Ready? Show us your food.
All right, so Flame Boss, been working overnight. I did undo the latch. Here we go.
12-pound shoulder. Little Ike.
Look at you.
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. Yeah, so we got the retraction from the bone. Ooh, a little marrow.
Yes. You know I'm a bone marrow fan.
Oh. Oh, my gosh. So I've never done this before. Because your theme this year is Texas, I used a brisket rub on the pork. And oh my gosh, the salty, the crunchy, the chewy. That's amazing.
Nice.
But I thought, it's 12 pounds and it's Danielle and I. So if we plow through 12 pounds of pulled pork, what are we going to eat after that? So we made a caprese salad, and Danielle has this, I call it a black bean salsa. She calls it a corn, black bean, avocado salad. It's not made out of meat, so it's vegetables. It's good. It's really good. I'd actually like to serve it at Hoppy's Cantina, to be honest. But then I thought, well, my buddy Craig has invested time. I'm still chewing that pork. It's delicious. Craig has invested time in a Texas virtual Ribberfest, I should probably cook more than just the pulled pork. So since Ike was in play, I thought, let's bring Darth to the party. Now, you were here earlier. Remember this shelf up here with no Flame Boss controller on it?
Yes.
That's because Flame Boss 400. That's the whole unit. Super easy to set up, very solid, very stable, very dependable. The fan for both the 400 and the 500 are improved over the previous generations. They blow a lot more air. CFMs, cubic foot minute. Am I right? I don't know.
Sure.
But anyway, so Craig, just to let you know, I've kind of lost your audio. So I'm just kind of blowing through here, and then I'll try to hear you and wrap up after I show what's in Ike. Sound good?
Yeah.
I think you said yeah, but I'm not sure. All right. I would love to tell the story of how I acquired Darth, but I'm not going to do that now. I know I have a limited time. So let's go to the reveal of what's going on inside of Darth. Boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh. Hey, Ron, that's the black rub on a chuck roast. Huh? Texas style, baby. I got pork belly bites going. Yes, we are going to serve this at Hoppy's Cantina when there's service. My wife, who picks the fat off of her bacon, will eat this pork belly. She will tell you need to eat this pork belly because it's meat candy. Now, just because we needed to have something to eat besides a 5-pound chuck roast, pork belly, 12-pound pork shoulder, caprese salad, corn and black bean avocado salsa salad, 2 racks of baby back ribs, one with a chili lime rub and one with that Fogo black rub, just because I got to see and taste what that is like.
That's fantastic.
That's going to be awesome.
Sean, can you hear me now?
I'm sorry?
Can you hear me?
No, here's what happened, Craig. Partway through this, I got a phone call, which obviously I didn't take, but that seemed to screw up the audio a little bit. So I apologize. I think probably the best thing I can do right now is probably jump out of this, let you go, and get ready for Ron. I'm going to certainly tune in to Captain Ron. He's awesome. Craig, I love you, man. You're doing a great job. You really are.
So just in case you can hear me, appreciate you joining. Fabulous spread as always, my friend. Cooking with Big Cat 305 asks what kind of lump is he using. So Sean is almost strictly a Fogo guy. Sean, I don't know if you can hear me, but any particular Fogo you're using on the cook today?
Hold on, I'm going to give you a bad picture just so I can put the phone by my ear. Can you please repeat what you said?
What kind of Fogo are you using on your cook?
Oh, so here's the thing, and I was talking to Ron about this. Honestly, their basic black bag is awesome. The Quebracho I really like. The super lumps, I use them for different things. So in Darth, the larger one, I have the Quebracho, and then in Ike, because it's smaller, and I needed to do an overnight cook, I like to use the Cuban blend. And the reason is the pieces are still very hard and very dense, and you get a long burn, a consistent burn. But because the pieces are smaller than the super lump, you can pack more charcoal into the little space right there. And I did a beef knuckle on, well, I didn't do it. I cooked a beef. I cooked a beef. I cooked a beef knuckle. You can edit this, right?
Yeah. Nobody heard that live. So.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mag.
Excuse me.
Exactly. Now we've totally lost control when we start talking about beef knuckles.
Johnny. All right, so let me. I cooked the beef knuckle.
Oh Jesus!
Oh, stop it!
All right, listen. We got to wrap it up. All right, you can't even talk anymore. So, Hoppy, thank you, my friend. I know all of us local folks are on the edge of our seat, waiting for Hoppy's Cantina to even do during COVID takeout. And so I appreciate you joining. I appreciate you swinging by and creeping on my creep and letting me creep. And, I will chat at you soon and say hi to the lovely Danielle behind you.
I certainly will. Oh, hey, baby.
Hi. I just was surprised.
Follow Hoppy on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter.
Hoppy's Cantina.
Hoppy's Cantina in Amesbury. And all right, brother, I'll let you get back to the cooking. I'm going to take a quick break, and we've got the Captain Ron from Team Big Green Egg coming up next. So hopefully you guys can come back and join us. Cmac, I'm out for about 5 minutes, and we'll be back.